Welcome to Autographers Anonymous, a place where we discuss our addiction to the greatest hobby in the world. Let's go around the room.
What's up, guys? It's Mike from the Autograph Network, aka the Godfather. And sorry, I'm muting that. I'm in chat. What's up, guys? It's Mike from the Autograph Network, aka the Godfather, and I'm here to order the number one supersize with French fries. But that's not what we're doing here. Okay, next.
This is Chase from Chase and Ink on YouTube, and I powdered my cards.
Ooh, that's a fun little trick you have to tell us about. I don't think anybody knows about that one, Chase. It's an ongoing joke on the show. My name is Zane Savage, and why did my Giannis bad? So let's start this show off with some new returns, Mikey.
All right, before we do that, just show this real quick. Couple of passings. I don't have a Bart Starr, but legendary Packer Bart Starr passed away. And also, rest in peace, legendary Boston Red Sox Bill Buckner. Of course, he actually had a very stellar career, but he's most known for this one shot here, the 86 World Series. I did pay a fee for this in 2014, had him sign this photo, signed in pen there, but he recently passed away. He had like 2,700 hits, so not a bad career. All right, on to what we got in. One purchase, Tessa Blanchard. This is from one of those wrestling crate boxes, 8x10. She is former Impact Wrestling Women's Champion, also the daughter of Tully Blanchard, former Four Horsemen. Woo! I got a trade that's somewhere in my stack, but we'll get into the returns. I'll show this one because it's kind of funny. I got an 8x10 envelope from NASA. A couple weeks back, I wrote to Robert Cabana, who's actually the director of the Kennedy Space Center now. And I sent, of course, my regular letter with autographs for Akir. And I got a nice signed rejection letter saying, he can't, because he's a federal officer or whatever it is, he can't donate to charity. So I took the photos, sent it back with my regular letter, and I got not only my 3 photos signed, but I got a nice 8x10 inscribed to Archer. Official NASA stuff. So, and I understand, they don't want to show favoritism towards a charity, and even though I'm not an official one, but I get it. So, onto the returns. Got a bunch of NASA stuff. Like I said, anytime I see them on Star Tiger, I've been hitting them up, and I send the shuttle launch photo because it's an awesome looking photo. This is Roy Bridges. He's a pilot, so I try and find something space related. And their official photo, if I can find it. If not, I try and find a crew photo. But they've been great signing. Usually, they put their tags on there, their missions. So it's pretty cool. Space guys are great. Most of them, anyways. This one's cool. This is Scott Altman, another NASA guy. But they call him Top Gun. And the reason is he is a pilot. And this is from the movie, actually, Top Gun. And this is when Maverick and Goose go inverted. Let's see if I get this the right way. All right, so they're inverted. And that middle finger there is not Tom Cruise. That is Scott Altman. So he was actually flying the jet for the stunt scenes. And so they call him Top Gun. So very cool. NXT wrestlers have been fantastic still. Tegan Knox, part of Team Kick, with Dakota Kai. She hurt her knee, I think, blew out her ACL, but she'll be back. She was in the Mae Young Classic. But again, NXT has been great before they get up to the main roster.
And on that note, I think it's AEW. Is that the new wrestling federation that's out? That would probably be a good one to write to because it's up and coming, a lot of up and coming people, and there's a lot of buzz around that. You're going to want to get in early if you want any autographs from that promotion because the way people are talking about it, it's going to blow up decently big soon. So
Oh yeah, they had their first pay-per-view this past weekend, and it was phenomenal show. And yeah, they've got some talent. So we'll see if there's a good address, and I'll post that if I'll try it out. But football return, Kerry Collins, longtime NFL quarterback, mainly for the New York Jets or Giants. And it was also Nittany Lion, Penn State. Just a cool looking photo there in the snow. That took a while to get. Did not sign my photos, but sent back a signed postcard, indentations, and looks legit. This is Lori Hernandez. She was one of the gold medal winners, USA Women's Gymnastics. Signed down there. This is like a Nike promo. Golfer Ernie Els. Nice shot with Tiger there. And golf is great because they have very cool shots like that. I think that's out in Dubai, but the cityscape out in the background there, pretty cool looking. Alex Touche. He's a current NHL player with the Golden Knights, so nice to see a current guy signing. Signed a couple, played for Team USA also. So nice to get him. A couple more astronauts. Oh, here's my trade photo with our long lost friend, Mr. Stacy Schaefer. But I picked up the Josh Brolin as Thanos.
that's a cool one.
Yeah. So we saw Endgame not too long ago, and it was great. Nice end of that saga. With donation to his foundation, and I've mentioned this before, if you guys find a athlete with a foundation, if you send a donation to there, they'll usually sign. Priest Holmes, former chief, signed 3.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
He is not yet. Questionable if he'll get in or not, but he had a pretty good career. So cool looking shot there. One of the big men signed my envelope also. This is Lincoln Kennedy, longtime offensive lineman, Raiders. He put some cool inscriptions. 3 times Pro Bowl on that one. He went to Washington, was a Husky. He is in the College Football Hall of Fame, which he inscribed there at the bottom. And I found this photo, and this is why I like doing photos, because you can find cool stuff like this. That's a shot of him in high school. He's a monster back then. But he is in the San Diego, California Hall of Fame. So pretty cool. Chase Kaufman, I believe he's still playing. Current guy, off-season signing.
Gotta love those blown up cards.
Oh, yeah. Get that for 10 cents, man. Come on. And just cool shots. Played with the Colts, Falcons. More astronauts. Skip over there. Willie Lanier. I believe I sent a check. I don't think it's been cashed, but he is in the Hall of Fame. If you guys grease the wheels a little bit with Hall of Famers, that usually goes a long way. He did add the Hall of Fame inscription. So
also a fun thing to do, if you do write a check for a foundation or a player, sometimes you can actually go to your bank, your online statement, and you can actually see the signature on the back of the check. Half the time they do it, half the time they don't. But you don't actually have the autograph in hand, but it is something that's signed that you get to look at. So it's kind of cool if you guys haven't done that.
So Hall of Famer, anytime you guys can get them while they're good. He's got to be up there in age. Hall of Fame 86, I believe. So signed 3. More astronauts. This one is not my photo. So someone is getting Alice Eve, who was in Star Trek, and they ordered their pictures off Amazon Prints back in January. So I just started doing that, so I know this is not my photo.
So she's signing? That's surprising.
She is. And last one is the Major Mojo. If you guys follow me on social networks, you guys know I posted this. I am number 009, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. But this is one of the greatest golfers in the game right now, Mr. Jordan Spieth. Signed Sports Illustrated cover, signed 1. And there is the post-it note, so 009. So I'm sure someone set this up on a table. He just goes and signs and then has an assistant come through, 009, put it back in 009. That's how the game works. So big return on that one. That's been out quite some time. And I don't know off the top of my head if it was a private address or if I sent it to the PGA address. I'm not sure. But it is coming back from Chase's neck of the woods. So if you guys watch the show, you guys can figure that out. So
just want to throw in real quick. We've got some people in chat. Andy Rue has the fire sign. John Snyder's here, and Card Cutter says, Michael, stop sending me autograph requests. So, Chase, what do you got?
All right. Only a few here for TTM. I got one back from Steve Kemp. I got 2 back from Dick Bosman. There's 1. And this one was already signed by Steve Busby. Now I just need to send it to Mr. Nolan Ryan to get that one complete. So
the easiest one.
Yeah. He's pretty easy. I just don't know if I want to spend the $65. And then I'll just go with Mr. Bill Gogo on this one.
Gogolowski,
I think, but his nickname was Gogo. So hey, current player, I got Ronald Guzman, who's of the Rangers. I don't know if you can see a theme yet, but all these are, with the exception of, well, actually, yeah, Kemp was too. All these have been Rangers at some point. As Dubal Cabrera, I have not seen him do very many TTMs, and
nice
came out really nice. Yeah, I was happy with that one. So going from a great signature to not so great signature, Mr. Frank Lucchese, his health is getting very bad. So you can see here, there's that one, and that's the best that I've got of these 3. There's that one.
Never a good sign.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. He's born in 27, so he's 92, right? No, I don't know. Anyway, and then there's the last one. It's just squiggle straight across. But did get quite a bit IP going to Rough Rider games. I'm not going to go through all of them, but James Jones, who was a Mariners outfielder. Now he's coming through the Rough Riders as the pitcher. Christian Lopez, he was for the Team USA for a little bit. Charles LeBlanc. See, there's the baby powder at work on that one.
The old baby powder.
We got Jonathan Hernandez. He's one to watch for. He's a real good pitcher coming up in the Rangers organization. Let's see. Another one was an outfielder coming back as trying to make it as a pitcher. I believe that's Jairo Barras is how you pronounce that. But yeah. And then actually went over to the Stacey Schaefer's side, seen the Sod Poodles, and got their pitching coach, Jimmy Jones. He's was an old-time pitcher for Padres and Yankees. So
Stacy's team would be called the Sod Poodles.
Well, it's the AA team for the Padres. So
yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got today,
well,
this week.
I actually got a return last show, but I forgot to show it off. I don't know what happened, but I'll go ahead and show it off this week. Yeah, I just totally forgot. I don't know what happened. I think I was on a time schedule or something. But my tiny cards came through. Jane Goodall, and she actually filled out the entire card. Conservationist, she put as a profession, and put the date. So got that in. These tiny cards, man, they're trickling in.
How many you got out there still?
Probably 40.
Wow.
So I've got maybe 20% back. So
Hey, those are good return rates.
it's actually not that bad. It's just taken a long time. She also sent a little flyer. She usually does about her foundation and stuff. So that's my return. I got this like a month ago, but then it showed off last show. Let's go ahead and move on to our Collector's Chronicles segment. And this is a segment where we talk about the weirdest or most awkward item that we've sent out to get signed TTM. It can either be just a unique item or like an awkward picture where it's like, I wonder if they're going to sign this because it's a pretty embarrassing photo. Mike, do you want to start?
Sure. I haven't ventured out like some of the other collectors where I've sent weird items. I've seen some. I think some of our co-hosts have done that. Stacy went through a phase where he sent out, I think, a spatula to Paula Dean. I've seen the red stapler to the guy from Office Space. Just there's been some weird stuff. I haven't gone that route. I think probably the weirdest thing was I found a Steve Atwater jersey at Goodwill, but it was like a 3X. I mean, this thing was massive as like a blanket, but it was a Mitchell and Ness throwback jersey. So I sent that to him, but it was just it wouldn't fit anybody. It could fit probably 2 or 3 people. It was that big, but so I haven't sent that. Probably I'm sure I've sent some weird photos to people.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. On your end, there's got to be some weird, awkward photos. Sound like Vanna White's Playboy cover, stuff like that.
I got the nasty note. You know, don't send this again. It's not autograph related. You know, so I've tried that. But that was something I collected too, the covers, and you know, I think we talked about this offline. Why she wouldn't sign it, because you know that it was apparently stolen photos, or she didn't sign off on
purchased, I think, without her permission.
Yeah, so still on the chase for that one. Someday.
Hey, I got a mat cutter right over here, buddy. I can make your dreams come true.
There you go. Yeah, so I'll try and think of a weird photo, but
yeah, think of some weird photos. We'll shoot it over to Chase, and you keep your mind rolling.
My normal TTMs are cards and photos. I have sent out like baseballs and pucks and things like that, so I don't really consider those being weird or anything. I've got a Funko Pop signed. I don't know if that would be considered weird but it's definitely not something that I normally send out. I just saw it at Target, grabbed it, knew Matthew Modine signed, and sent that off to him. As far as weird photos, I'll just show this one up here. This one's the San Diego chicken, or famous chicken, with Morgana, the kissing bandit, and had it dual signed by both of them.
Nice. Yeah, that is a weird one.
I like the inscription. He writes on there, "At the beak of my career," and you know. And her inscription, I'll try and keep it G-rated, but I'll put it up there. It doesn't say best wishes. There's an R in there. and her signature, the top of the M's are interesting.
Dotted.
Yeah. So that's one that's very out of my norm, but
okay, well,
not crazy like some of the other ones.
You guys are bringing weak sauce to the game here. That's all I'm saying. Because back in the day, I didn't just TTM. I TTM'd, man. So I still have some weird stuff from back in the day, and I pulled just a couple of things just laying around me that are weird, that blow your crap out of the water. So be prepared to be amazed at a Norman Bridwell signed Clifford doll. Check that out, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. That
did you shave that?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
I couldn't figure out how to get it signed because I was like, how's he going to sign a fluffy animal, right? So I shaved the bottom with a razor, and he signed the bottom with a Clifford. Probably the only one ever signed, unless it was signed maybe on a tag.
Yeah.
So there's that. But you're like, that's probably your best one, right? I mean, that blows everybody else out of the water. No, this is by far the weirdest one. Um, this is a condom signed by John Waters, and you're like, why? Why do you have a condom signed by John Waters?
No, the
Well,
question is, why is it framed?
well, I felt the frame just said it had John Waters' name all over it. I mean, the frame did. So, I don't. John Waters is a weird dude. I like his movies; they're super weird and quirky. I was like, seems like the kind of guy that would just get it if I send him a condom and he would ask him to sign it, and he did. And I sent one other condom out to get signed by Dr. Ruth, and she did not sign it. She signed my other stuff, but not the condom.
She probably used it.
Oh, dude, come on, man! I don't want
Sorry.
Anyways, so those are just two that I pulled that were in my radius. I got some weird stuff. Like I said, I went hard TTMing back in the day. I could probably pull about 3 or 4 more just laying around me. But all right, Mike, you got any more ideas of photos that were weird?
Not yet.
No, boo. Okay, if you think of anything before the end of the show, we'll do it then. Let's move on to our topic for today, and that is what drives autograph value. So some people care about this, some people don't. Some people are collectors only. Some people like to buy even if you like to buy autographs, this affects you. So there's a few categories we put down to talk about, subcategories. First is claim to fame. So certain people that do certain professions obviously charge more money. Astronauts is the one that comes to mind. You're talking a lot about astronauts, Mike, and those guys that were in the first group of astronauts. Those are the big money guys. Those are the guys you're not going to get unless you pay a decent amount of money, especially TTM. So what are some other big professions that tend to drive money?
Well, the reason I wanted to talk about this, like, I think most of us are on the show are collectors, but collecting involves buying and selling. We'll just put that out there. I buy, I sell, and I'm interested in what drives the price. So when we brought up this topic, the claim to fame, astronauts is a good one. The guys that went up in the rockets. I'm not talking space shuttles. I'm talking on the rocket and in the capsules. Those guys, and not just the first ones, but those first few years of going around just in orbit. That's a good one. Presidents, people that hold a job that there's not a lot of. I think the claim to fame and rarity. With astronauts, I don't think there's a lot of public signings.
That's another subtopic, Mike. What are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I'm jumping ahead. So
I would say like another one would be like inventors / discoverers. So people who like discovered an entire field or an important scientific discovery, not just that like the scientific people know about, but like everybody knows about, like James Watson and DNA, stuff like that. Like that drives money like crazy because people know once that person passes away, there's a finite whatever amount of signatures. I'm getting into rarity now too. Then that's going to be hold its value because that person's point, they're going to be read about in history books from here on out.
Right. So history, people in history, when you said inventors, I thought of, the first to do something, the first person to fly around the world, Charles Lindbergh, something like that. The first person in that field to do some accomplishment that, you open a textbook and there it is, or look online, this person did this first.
Everybody except for Roger Bannister, who signed like his entire life, and like his autographs aren't worth hardly anything. He was the first guy to run the 4-minute mile, I think.
Sure. And that's, along these lines, you have people, let's go back to the first one. You said astronauts. There's some John Glenn, he signed a ton. He still holds value, but his is less. He's still in that astronaut, genre, but just because, and we can go to the next one, presidents. Somebody like John Kennedy, who wasn't president for a long time, it holds a lot of value. Jimmy Carter signs if you send him something that's official, like an official photo, he'll sign it. So he's a president, but it holds a little less value.
Right.
Yeah.
Chase, you think of any other big subject matters where the subject matter increases price?
No, that's. I mean, I
Professions.
think you guys pretty much covered it. Yeah.
Hall of Famers, maybe. I mean, there's
Yeah.
always.
I didn't know if that was part of the subcategories, but yeah.
Yeah, I would think. I would think Hall of Famers would be like. There's always. I would say Hall of Famers on specific items. For instance, Hall of Famers on balls. Excuse
Right.
my, pardon my French. But Hall of Famers on official balls will always be highly collectible and always drive a decently high price compared to how often they sign. You know what? Let's just go ahead and move on to the second category because we've been talking about it a million times.
Yeah,
Supply.
Real quick, we got a couple guys in chat.
Oh, sure.
Garrett Card Cutter said the tech guys like Woz and Steve Jobs.
Perfect example of inventors. Yeah.
And John, we'll get to yours next. It's a subcategory, the deceased, the newly deceased.
Right. So that comes to supply, which we put deceased in that subcategory. So let's just start talking about Woz and Steve Jobs because that's a good example of supply. Woz signs for his website for a very low price, which keeps his autographs at a decent level, even though he's a co-founder of one of the biggest companies ever. So Steve Jobs had a policy when he was alive not to sign autographs because I think his philosophy was if he couldn't sign for everybody, he's not going to sign for anybody. I believe that's what it was. That he didn't hold to that. There are some people that were kind of peers of his that asked for his autograph. He would sign for them. But if you were a Joe Schmo, he was probably not going to sign for you. I notoriously had a TTM out to him when he died. So that's like the worst feeling in the world, or like not worse, but like a weird feeling because you're like, what if he signed it before he passed away? Like I could still get it. Like there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. But Steve Jobs' signature is astronomical, up there with the guys that are impossible to get.
Yeah.
You're talking like Stephen Hawking prices, like that's how high his stuff is.
And a legit Bill Gates, he's notorious for auto pens and preprints. But if you get a legit one, it's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, those guys. Gates signs more. He had books and some book tours, some college book tours that he signed on. Steve Jobs didn't have any of that.
No,
like he wrote no books. He was kind of reclusive outside of his job. So, yeah.
So I think we can say the very top of the industries, whatever they're in, whether it's an athlete, if obviously the best is going to be a Hall of Famer. The top tech guys, Walt Disney, someone who is, I'd say, elite in what they do is going to be up there in price.
Up there, but not always the highest. Look at baseball, for instance. You would think Ruth would be the most well-known, the one that's forged the most and worth the most. No, Shoeless Joe Jackson is by far the most worth the most because it's like an X that he signed most of the time and rarely signed his own name.
Yeah. I think with sports though, like you have so many guys too, because I mean you could go through the Hall of Fame and Ty Cobb, his autograph is it's out there, but you're still going to pay a pretty penny for it. Ruth, but you look at some of the guys in the Hall of Fame and you can pick up a let's say Willie Mays for a pretty cheap price considering how good he was. So that's why I wanted to bring this up. Like there's certain things that I don't understand what drives the price up and what drives it down. I get how much they sign and some of the stuff, but you look at guys paying way too much for prospects and the hot ticket when they can pick up a Hall of Famer. It's just sometimes the skew where what's something you think is worth and what it sells for, what you buy it for, I think is off. I think.
Okay, so here's my philosophy on that. So I see the prospect market when it comes to trading cards and autographs, like Bryce Harper back in the day or Otani now. I see that as kind of like a stock market thing where you buy to sell at a higher price, but you're not buying it to keep it. So basically, the people that buy at those higher prices are looking to sell it a month or two later at a higher price than they bought it, make some money, and get out of it before it crashes. Because if you look at the prospect market as a long-term investment, you're a sucker. You're going to be out of money. Because like I don't know anybody that held their value. I mean, maybe even Griffey's card. Like Griffey is one of the biggest star Hall of Famers right now to get. Like his autograph is way up there for Hall of Famers. Yet his rookie card, it used to be huge. It's like what, $20 now? Like that stuff doesn't hold value. I don't know. Like it just seems like those markets always crash. Even if the guy turns out to be a Hall of Famer and like one of the best of their era, you're going to be able to get it for so much cheaper later because they're going to be doing conventions and they're going to have a foundation where they sign for $30. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's a dangerous game to play, I think, because you can invest a lot of money and hold on to it, and it is like the stock market. Some of those guys crash. Who was that? Poog, what's his name with the Dodgers? There you go.
Puig, yeah.
He was the it thing, and I mean, people were cashing in on his autograph. Now, I wouldn't say worthless, but it's. I think the market's tanked on that, and so it's weird to me because I just sold something on one of the Facebook forums. It was a CEO of a company, Steve Case. It sold it for like $25. Okay, and I can have a Hall of Famer for $25 and not sell it. So that's what I wanted to bring up in this topic, because I wanted to get your guys' input, because it's weird. But I guess
I can tell you exactly what that is. So on the Hall of Famers, like I said, it's a specific item thing. So people want it on either like official baseball or a bat. They want Hall of Famers on a specific item, and the Hall of Fame signed trading cards, just like a regular signed trading card, index cards. That stuff does not hold value very well at all. But when it comes to Steve Case, people are more willing to take whatever they can get because there's not necessarily a big market out there for him. So they're just happy to get an autograph in general. That's how I feel, at least when I'm collecting. And that's what I see in a lot of collectors whenever I'm selling. So that's what do you think about that?
Yeah, I guess that's true too. Like, it goes back to supply and demand. There's probably an abundance of the Hall of Famer out there because he's signed throughout his career and maybe does some private signings, but somebody like Steve Case maybe gets a couple TTM requests a year. It's not somebody that average Joe collector is gonna write to. So I guess supply and demand.
Yep. And item specifics is another subcategory. We'll move on to that. And we've kind of already hit that with what the item is. And Hall of Famers, like I said, that's the big one where it really matters what the item is. And on those other ones, like I don't even, like if I'm collecting the other ones, I don't even care what they're on as long as I have the signature. They could be on the back of a napkin and I can mat it and I'll be happy. Especially if it's like an inventor. If it's like Steve Jobs, I'm not complaining. If I got a Steve Jobs, I got a Steve Jobs. Or even a Bill Gates, or even like a Nolan Bushnell, who you recently got. I'd be happy with whatever I have of his. I don't really need a specific item signed. But those other ones, there's so many out there, like you said, and there's such a big push toward those specific items that it just drives the price up for those specific items. Like there's so many people collecting that one thing, and they just pile on top of each other to get the good thing, especially if it's in good condition and the signature's clean, if it's got an inscription, all that stuff. Because there's people that like not only collect certified Hall of Fame autographed baseballs, it's certified Hall of Fame autographed baseballs with the Hall of Fame inscription and year on them, stuff like that. Like there's people that get really nitpicky with that stuff. When you get nitpicky, that's where the price goes through the roof.
And certain color.
Answer
Right.
color, yeah. Oh man,
Yeah.
color. That's something I didn't know. Like people were that picky about until I got into the Facebook groups, and like they're like, "Oh, that's signed in black. I ain't buying that." I'm like, what? Like, I don't understand that part. I mean, I can understand if it looks bad, like it black on black or something, but just like if it's signed in black on a mostly white photo, I'm like, who cares? Like, I don't understand that part of it, but that does affect the price. Minutely.
John in chat says availability drives price, and I mean that's completely true. And speaking of it, guys in chat, Garrett, we talked about like you're just talking about it, but one thing that he does, and he started collecting Hall of Famers for football, but getting them on rookie cards, and so you've seen a swing.
Yep. I know what you're gonna say.
In pricing because of that, so people that are signing stuff also understand that. So when you send, Peyton Manning a rookie card to his foundation, he's not going to sign it because he knows dealers and people that are buying it are getting more for that card too. So that also will drive up the price.
Also, like that used to be such a faux pas back in the day. That's something that's completely changed. If you got a rookie card signed back in the day, they're like, you just ruined a rookie card.
Oh, yeah.
That was the philosophy, and now it's totally different.
And now, I mean, Garrett started that before it was cool, and Garrett has changed the way people collect football cards. Like
Right.
you go into the Facebook forums now, and everyone collects signed rookie cards, and it's changed the way people sign because they know people are getting more money for them, and that's thanks to Garrett. And hopefully you're listening still, but he's got an amazing collection. But that's that market drives up the price too.
Yep.
When we start collecting certain things and somebody gets everyone's sending rookie cards to them, all of a sudden they see that also, and they're like,
that's
well,
another
wait
item specific.
Yep.
It's a specific thing they throw on the end of, okay, this is a rookie card. Boom, there goes the price.
Yeah, he just said Joe Montana charges extra if you want a rookie card signed. So at a public signing, you're paying for an autograph for Joe Montana, but you're paying extra if you put a rookie card in front of him, and that's item specific, and also that's part of the stuff that drives the market.
Yep, absolutely. Chase, you haven't talked in a while.
No, it just kind of goes along with the old debate on, does an autograph ruin the value of a card?
Yeah, I think the answer is no now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Well, I know if you send a card in to get graded, it gets a lower graded if you're not grading the autograph, just because, you get the card is it's got ink on it. But,
But
to me, I'd rather have the card signed than not.
that market has changed too, because it used to be you get an autograph, and now you get an autograph, you send it into PSA, and you can get the card authenticated that it's not a reprint, it's a vintage card. They'll authenticate that, and they'll authenticate the autograph. So when you send in, it quadruples the price because you've got it authenticated and on a vintage card.
Yeah, and now they'll even grade what the autograph is, how well of an autograph it is, if it's clear enough or if it's got streaks, that they'll actually grade the autograph too. So
Yep.
If you scare me enough, I'll get streaks. All right. Last subcategory, clarity and inscription. So this goes along exactly what you said, Chase.
Yeah.
This is big on Trout. I see Trout's signature trotted around a lot on the Facebook groups and be like, oh, you got a good one, or oh, you got a crappy one, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So basically, are they taking their time with it? Did they use a good pen on a good product? Or did they rush it with a paint pen and smudge their finger in it? And there's a lot of bad things can go on with an autograph signing. Personally, I don't mind it if it's a little smudged or whatever. I think it adds a little character, especially if it's staying in my personal collection. I'm not looking at it to keep value. I'm just looking at it to have for personal reasons, just to have it. Um, but if you're looking to keep a value on it, you definitely want to look at the how clear it is. If it's spelled out, I know a big. This is a cool thing I've been seeing lately is like players spelling out their full name, including middle name, during signings. That stuff, that takes it to a whole new premium price. Which, man, I would never have thought of that. Like, that's actually a really cool idea that they're starting to do. I don't know. It might have been around for a while, and I just never heard of it. But
Yeah, our buddy from the old baseball forum and Facebook, Nick, he's got a ton of those. Some of the guys have stopped doing that just because they know that, again, it also brings a premium price when you have first, middle, and last name. On inscriptions, I'm just bringing him up because he's he's in chat, and I'm part of the NFL group that he's a part of. But Garrett will spend extra money to get the HOF inscription for Hall of Fame because that will also drive up the price. You brought up Mike Trout. If a guy has a certain photo, there's one where Mike is climbing the wall or something. I don't remember what it is exactly, but he will, for the first part of his signings, you paid extra and got, the catch or whatever it was inscribed on that photo. Guys won't do that for free, but if you want to pay for it, you can get the inscriptions. Pete Rose is a great example too, because, you can get something signed by Pete Rose, but if you throw some extra money at him, he'll write anything you want.
I bet on baseball is the most common one.
Oh yeah, I've seen I've shot JFK, or it was the grassy knoll. He will basically write anything that you want if you pay him enough money.
I wonder if this is a little tip for TTMers. I wonder if you threw a few bucks at some of the guys that signed for free, if they would do some of this unique stuff to kind of boost some intrigue into your collection. Even on maybe one of them. A good way to do this, I see it on all the private signings, is the sticky notes. They put sticky notes with an arrow, what they want them to put there. And if you do that to a photo, make sure, if you're going to do that to somebody that signs for free, send some money. Like, don't put that on somebody that signed for free. Try to get that extra out of them. I would throw a couple extra bucks in there, if they're for free, and boost your collection a little bit, make it more unique.
Yeah, and one tip for TTMers, I mean, you can always ask. They might not honor the request, but you can say, if you want to inscribe something, and it doesn't have to be a Hall of Famer. It could be maybe the guy made 4 Pro Bowls. Say, can you inscribe, 4-time Pro Bowler or Super Bowl winner X whatever it was.
Yeah, I totally agree on inscriptions. Yeah,
so it doesn't hurt to ask.
But for the weird stuff like writing out your full name, I feel like that. I don't know. That's there's a guy that wrote to famous people for a long time and got them to trace their hand and then sign it. And now he's selling them all on eBay, of course. But like for stuff like that, kind of above and beyond, throw a couple of bucks their way. They're doing a service anyway. So I don't know. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I know the Cincinnati Reds pitcher, Raziel Iglesias. Early on, he would spell out his whole name. Now, if you get him TTM, it's basically just an RI. But I've seen people get him in person, like at Reds Fest, and he still will sign the whole name out. But, if you get him TTM, he's an automatic TTM. If he's one you want or need, you're going to get it. But you're just going to get the RI, and I think he also puts his jersey number on it, but that's it.
Well, we talked to Neri about that. I mean, people are starting to develop, free signatures and charge signatures, and maybe in person, they're just go ahead and give it their good signature. But yeah, that's starting to become a thing, which I'm okay with.
Yeah,
like, if they're signing the item and they have 2 signatures, like that's totally fine for me. Like I totally understand people wanting to make money off this business if you're the person signing autographs.
Yeah, I think Mike was talking about that with Jeremy Bullock. He's got a TTM and his convention autograph.
Yeah, he actually stopped signing his last name on his TTM, so he just signs it Jeremy.
Right.
Still beautiful first name, but you're not getting the full signature.
Totally.
Another one, the kid from Duke, Zion Williams, going to be the next big thing. He did a free signing, and it was basically a ZW in his number, which I think was number 1. And of course, people are still trying to get full price for it, and that's his free signature.
Yeah, because his full signature is like full on Zion. It's like spelled out.
Yeah, so it definitely happens. And that's their right. And if they're doing something for free, yeah, give the initials. Something we talked about pre-show, and I think it was on Kurt Angle's Twitter feed. Somebody's paying him some money to sign 10,000 autographs, and he was having people guess how long it would take. But he did a little video of him signing, how long it's been taking. It's taken him like 5 days. He does a couple hours, but he has a nice full signature. If it's him signing, we'll talk about that in another show. But on these cards, he's just putting the K and A. I mean, it's just he's trying to go through them, and that's kind of what we're talking about. Somebody like Kurt Angle, not a big name, but the guy from the Bucks,
Giannis,
the freak geek,
Greek freak.
There you go, that one. I mean, if you look at his autograph, it doesn't matter if it's free, if it's in person, if it's rushed, it's a garbage signature. I'm sorry, but people will still pay top dollar because he's one of the best players in the league.
Probably MVP this year.
Maybe. But that's just, I mean, if you look at it, it looks like he's just scratching, it's not even letters.
It's Greek, Mike. You wouldn't understand.
Probably not.
John has a question, and it's something we didn't put in our subtopic, so it's good. What do you think of personalizations on balls and photos as opposed to books? I think it's more accepted or desirable in the latter. So personalizations is I can't believe we didn't put that in there. Obviously decreases the value for a lot of people. Boosts, I'm more likely to buy something with a personalization personally because I can do a handwriting analysis of the personalization and be more confident in the authenticity of the signature. So I've always said that. Like I like personalizations, but that definitely dings it on the open market because people want clean stuff. Now, when it comes to books, it's a little different, but not. If you're talking like novels, I think it's a little more accepted. People like a history with the book. They like to know where the book's been, kind of like a provenance, and personalization can add that. It's the people that collect signed books tend to be of that ilk. It's like, I want a provenance. I want to know the history of this book, where it's been, and all that stuff. And it's not as much like that with a signed card. But it still drives down the value, in my opinion, on books just a little bit. Because I think majority of people would still prefer to have a clean signature in the book. But like I said, personally, I love personalizations.
You can cut most of them and mat them and hide that stuff too. So.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
What do you think about like dates in books, like when they sign it, adding the date?
Dates. That should be fine for anybody. That actually just adds provenance without personalization. So that would be actually probably a plus. But anytime you can add more evidence to your research, that's always a good thing. And if you care about authenticity over presentation, which I do, like that's a plus. But we're running a little fast or slow on time here, so probably need to kick it into gear to the next topic.
Chit chatty.
Yeah. So let's move on to fanatic feedback. We got one question this week. This is coming from Biggie. And Biggie asks, I was surprised in the last podcast that no one brought up the potential forgery as a bad motivation for TTMing. We talked about our bad motivations last show for sending a TTM, and this is one we didn't think of. So he's heard of major leaguers that would not sign items because they were afraid to have their identity stolen. How much of a threat is that? Do you think it is for celebrities or athletes that sign? So we talked about this on the old show, Autograph Weekly, but there are older people and certain like older baseball players that won't sign like blank index cards. What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely, and especially in this technological day and age, with Photoshop. I mean, you can turn a scan of an autograph into a signed document very easily. So I know there's a lot of people that will not sign a blank piece of paper.
Yeah, it's not just the old guys. I go to minor league games and I get that all the time. I actually, would take a lot of index cards because a lot of the guys don't even have cards or anything yet. They're just new coming up. And a lot of them are like, no, I can't sign that. So one of the things I've been doing is I've been making my own little custom cards that look kind of like that. It's got the logo, and I do get better responses with that, but there's still a few of them that's like, no, I can't sign that, So,
You'll need to make a video on how you make those, dude.
It's okay if you need me to.
No, you should on your channel.
Yeah,
on your channel, because actually we did a video on how to make custom index cards, and they were actually looked a lot worse than what you just showed us. And it's got like the most hits on our channel. So get some views over to your channel and make a how-to video. So yeah, this it's going to be a thing with some people. Some people aren't going to care. But just to be safe, colored index cards, I think that probably more of a chance to have them sign that, like a green or pink index card, maybe. Throw some color in there. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the giveaway winner for last week. That was for the Mr. McFeely autographed book. And the giveaway winner is Gary Bird. Congratulations, Gary Bird. Your name obviously rhymes with Larry Bird. But you're not from Boston, so or Indiana. I guess he lives in Indiana now.
French Lick.
Yeah, French Lick. Yeah. So congratulations, Gary. We will get that out to you ASAP. And of course, we have a new giveaway for this show, and it's a good one. This guy made the All-Star team for the first time this year. Basketball player. It's a certified auto of D'Angelo Russell. So if you want a certified D'Angelo Russell autograph card, go ahead and go to autographersanonymous.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, there's actually a link down below. You can click, take you right there. Autographersanonymous.com. There's a form. You just fill out the form, answer the question. There's a tab on the right where you just click. The question is, what is your most regretful TTM that you did not get before the person died? So somebody you're like, man, I really need to write to that guy, and they passed away before you could actually send to them. I think Chase was saying that he actually was wanting to write to Buckner, but waited too long. Buckner passed away. Now, obviously, that's not an option. So answer that question, or if you don't have anything, say I don't have anything, or maybe in person, or maybe somebody you wanted to buy and their price went up after they passed away as a replacement for that. But enter the win, and you can get that D'Angelo Russell autograph card. Now we move on to the case against. And we're doing a double case against here. And it's going to be the case against Bob Dole. Bob Dole. We're finally doing it, guys. I said the last show, I was like, I'm sick and tired of Bob Dole losing these things. We're doing it next week. And I'm glad we did, because I think we could bring some real eyeballs to this situation, as we say.
Well, yeah, it ties in with Memorial Day, too,
Yeah, it does.
Sort of.
Kind of. Because there's some sad news on Bob Dole here I have to share with you. All right, we're going to have to switch over to my screen here. Bob Henry Dole. I don't know if that's his middle name. Bob Dole. This is an Easton Press signed first edition book. These are notoriously hand signed by people. They go for premium prices. So this is probably the best version of Bob Dole's signature you're going to get. Okay, the cleanest. Here we have a personalized, inscribed, in-person book with a long T, and as you can see, it does go a little bit down here with the long E, but it's not too dramatic. It kind of goes out more than down. Okay, here is a 2005 Dole lecture. And this is a book plate. They usually do pre-signed book plates and then put them in the books and then give them out at these lectures. That's usually how that works. But as you can see, a pretty sloppy signature from Dole. And it goes down a little bit, but not much. I mean, it's kind of just a little jut on this one. I'm looking at the E on a lot of these guys, just so you know. Here is the moment of truth that pretty much blows the whole thing out of the water. This is an in-person of Bob Dole that was signed in 2018. 2018. And as you can see, his health, if you've seen him on TV, his health is not in the best shape. So it's very squiggly. You can barely read it. Again, I believe this is from the same signing. Bob Dole right here. So you guys already know where this is going, okay? This is Bob Dole's TTM signature that was arrived about the same time. It's obviously secretarial, people. I've been saying this for years. Turning Alex Jones here. You guys don't know the conspiracy of the Bob Doles. These are all secretarial. These aren't real. So, yeah, these are all the common TTMs everybody gets. I just want you guys to notice a little jut here at the bottom of the D. Little jut here at the bottom of the D. E's go almost totally down. Not really slanted, almost down. 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 Little bump. That one has a very small bump. It's barely noticeable. So we're getting into some TTM signed books here. And this is at the end of his kind of signed book era. And he started getting his secretary to sign. We'll get into who the secretary is in a little bit. But if you've seen this type right here, you know what this is automatically. This is the secretary to any politician ever who does the very slow, almost calligraphy-like inscription. You'll get this on presidential photos, senator photos. It's very common. But there was a time when Bob Dole actually signed books. Oh, this isn't one of them. Again, got the secretarial inscription with obviously a secretarial signature. Again, down. Got the little bump on the bottom of the D. Here we have a Elizabeth Dole signed an inscribed book with Bob Dole. And interesting, what am I seeing here on Elizabeth? Looks like a little bump on the bottom of the D. I don't see many people put a bump on the bottom of their D's. Do you guys? It's kind of a unique little feature, but not conclusive. I will say that. So we have Elizabeth's inscription, obviously, in a secretarial Bob Dole. We'll try to figure out who signed it, but it definitely wasn't Bob Dole. This is a TTM from me back in the day. I actually got this back. This is a book plate. And you got the Elizabeth Dole signature. Little bump with the Bob Dole signature. Little bump. Just saying. Some evidence. But there was a time where he signed some TTM. Actually, this one's a little unique. I think this is legit, but because it does not look like a secretarial signature. Could be a different secretary, but it looks a lot like his kind of sloppy signature here. But it looks a little too neat for me. I don't know if he was maybe in in a decline and he took a long time with his signature, but this one's one of the offshoots that kind of doesn't fit the mold. But this is definitely legit. This is one of his. The long T is the big tell on his inscription right here. The little stem and the long T. We saw that earlier on right there. So you can see that's the in-person signature. But this was received TTM and is legit. But that was one of the last times that he signed. From what I can tell, he only signed books and book plates at that time. So, case against Bob Dole, my opinion is these are all secretarial, and the little bump here on the D's, they're so. I don't know anybody who does that. It could easily be his wife. The only reason I'm hesitant is because of these. Like, what happened? Did the freaking secretary sign the inscription and then his wife come in and, do the autograph? Like, obviously, this signature is done by the same person. You know, they're all so similar. And I feel like these right here, these inscriptions, well, you know what? That T looks really, the T and 2 looks really like similar. Well, that was a little off though.
Could be
I
his
don't know.
wife doing the inscriptions too.
You know, does his wife have like calligraphy handwriting though? Like I know that handwriting, like, man,
Oh yeah,
almost all of the secretaries for
I've
presidents and
gotten a few
senators
presidents come back that the
have
exact same handwriting.
exactly that slow, meticulous, almost calligraphy. So I lean toward, man, I don't know. It could be his wife. Look at those tilts on the T, and look at the tilt on that T. Could it be just her writing in cursive versus print? I don't know. I'd like to hear from you guys on this one because I think it's interesting. But I'd like to see your guys' evidence and what you guys think.
I'll pipe in on the inscriptions. I think it's auto pen.
So the inscription is auto pen. So the inscription is actually made by a machine.
Yeah,
that is letter by letter put in the
The
That
auto
is-
calligraphy one.
Like,
Because there's not the same secretary for all the different presidents if they're retired. So
that almost
auto
runs
pen.
in a straight line.
Yeah,
My guess is that's an auto pen inscription.
Interesting. I'd have to do more research into this. Interesting theory.
All right.
Go on.
So, like any good politician, Bob Dole has the auto pen. You guys will get them if you write to any sitting president and most people in Congress. You'll get the photo. Nice, and they're nice photos. But if you look at those, they'll have the same thing. This one doesn't have it, but the same inscription. You know, to the Rhodes family, best wishes, and then it's signed. Try to do this in black and white. This is a great example of the auto pen. I mean, you can see the hard starts and
stops.
Yep. The dots. Let's see. So if you look on the B, there's two hard starts and stops at the bottom, and then where it finishes on the B there.
On that one, I agree with you. On some,
I mean yeah. So that is we know politicians. Most of them have auto pen machines. This one is PSA DNA certified.
Really, that one is PSA DNA certified.
Now, with that said, it's an educated guess. You know,
because like we know PSA makes mistakes. We've pointed out
So
that
so,
one.
I mean,
I would not. If I was authenticating, I would not authenticate that.
So it's the B, the little notch on the D, and then what I look, his signature tails off there, and I don't know if that's because of health reasons or because if you don't know Bob Dole, look him up. I think he was injured in one of the wars or something, but he only has use of one side of his arm. He doesn't have. He always held something. He's got a little bit of movement, but he doesn't have full function of both arms. I have the same thing. If you guys have received anything recently and it doesn't look like that, it is either secretarial or auto pen, guaranteed. If you guys watched the Bush funeral, he couldn't even stand. He needed assistance to salute. His health has been not good for years, but recently in the last 2 or 3, very, very downhill. So this is one that I've had in my collection for, I'd say probably 10, 15 years. White index card, but same thing as the PSA one. Got the big B, the looping D with the little.
I think it's secretarial
a little notch. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'll give my official verdict at the end, but just what I looked at, I think the PSA one is, they certified something they thought was authentic.
Yeah.
The plain and simple, if you're getting something that looks, if you can read Bob Dole recently in the last, I'd say 2 years, it's not signed by him.
Right.
So we can jump back 10 years and talk about those TTMs, and you're going to get something that looked like this.
That is not legit, dude. Like his stuff, like I
Yeah.
showed you the freaking Easton Press book, and it almost
Right.
it almost looks like a female signature compared to that
Yeah.
signature there. Like they're totally different.
So I think I don't think he's ever signed. Well, maybe
His
a
book.
handful, right?
books.
A handful of TTMs, but I think any of the photos, anything that's been signed by him that looks like this is, in my opinion, not signed by him. It's close with the auto pen. It's got the same characteristics, but I'm not 100% sure that his
These aren't
auto
auto
pen.
pen.
Right, but what I'm saying is I'm not 100% sure his auto pen signature was signed by him, is what I'm
Right.
saying. So
Yeah,
I think
that is you got that bump in there, man. I mean,
yeah. So if we're saying that little telltale bump is not him, I'm not 100% sure that's his signature on the auto pen. The way an auto pen works is they have to have a template. So somebody will sign either paper or something. So it doesn't have to be signed by him. Someone else can sign it and send it in, and they make a template that the machine runs off of. So if his wife was signing stuff and
majority of his stuff probably, even
Right.
like official stuff. So
And
it would
that's-
be in their benefit to have her signature match up with his official signature, right?
right, so that would, if they, let's say they're basing that off, hey, that looks just like his auto pen, and this, they're saying, okay, this is, we don't see the hard stops, we don't see, it doesn't look like an auto pen, this is a live signature. Well, yeah, it can be. And let's say they're comparing it to the auto pen, because they're comparing it to, I think, his wife's signature that is his auto pen.
Right.
And I'm basing that off my research. I don't think he's been well enough to sign for a long time. And even like his auto pen signature is pretty clean.
Oh, super clean. Yeah.
And I don't think he's ever been able to sign that way, with his health and his injury. Like I said,
that 2005 signature was sloppy.
Yeah. I think his health has been so bad, and I don't think he's been able to like have a nice signature like that for a very long time. So my opinion is, I think his wife has been signing for him and has the auto pen signed in her name as his auto pen. But that's just my opinion.
Also,
Chase.
I mean, we've seen it before with Debbie Reynolds, who had her signature on her website was her secretary's signature. Like her logo was her secretary's signature. So we've seen that stuff before. Or in our opinion, the secretary's signature. We'll say that. Just whatever. Chase, what do you think?
I'm gonna agree 100%. But as Mike was showing the PSA, this is what was kind of like throwing me off a little bit. But I kind of, what you guys were saying was, I think his wife's been signing his autographs for a long time, and they are comparing it to his wife's signature. So it's an authenticated autograph of his wife.
Right.
Because if you look here, here's a PSA book.
That's the ones that I'm used to seeing that were signed at a book signing.
And then here is a PSA. This is a photo. I just cropped it out, trying to fit more on. PSA. All these are PSA certified.
See, that's crazy.
See, and all of these you can tell are very different. Every one of them are similar but different. I think this one might even be the same one that Mike had on there.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yep.
And then look, Look at this.
That's definitely that's an auto pen signature there. That's his
Right.
official photo or whatever.
Right. But look,
Oh, what?
PSA sticker.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my
And
god.
then another one right there. So again, yes, PSA gets things wrong, but how many times? I mean, I don't know.
If you poison the well so much, sometimes like they don't realize that it's poison because it's the water at that point,
Well,
right?
I mean, they do it on a much bigger scale, but they're doing the same thing we are. They're trying to compare it to their database, and all that is people saying this is in person, this is in person, this is in person. Of course, that's somebody who's to say it's in person.
I
They
would say
want
we probably have a better database than they do when it comes to
they
the majority of signatures that are lower
yeah
level. They probably
somebody
have more like manual, examples. But when it comes to lower level people like Bob Dole, I think Star Tiger has a way better resource than probably PSA does.
Yeah. So when your judgment is only as good as the information that you're basing it off of, and if
Right.
you're basing it off of 99% of the stuff that's signed by let's say his wife, then yeah, you're going to authenticate 99% of it because you're looking at examples of his wife signing stuff.
Yep. So I think we're all in agreement. Let's go ahead and go through the list here. Definitely authentic, neutral, probably fake, definitely fake. I'm going definitely fake. How about you guys?
Definitely fake on my end.
I would say definitely fake because it's not him, but I mean, I think it might be real. His wife.
I think it could easily be his wife, and I think that D, the bottom of the
Right.
D, that bump. I mean,
That's the tell.
that's the tell. But there's a chance that it could be a secretary that has the same bump. Who knows?
But
Probably
yeah,
not, but we'll see.
I think PSA needs to subscribe to Star Tiger.
They need to listen to our show, man. Yeah, that's if you guys don't subscribe to Star Tiger and because you don't do TTMs, it might be worth it just to do your own research on authenticity. It's like one of the best resources you can have.
$4.99 a month.
Yep, $4.99 a month, and I think it's even cheaper if you buy like longer periods. And you can actually see in persons that people get and compare them to if it's a TTM, a common TTMer, you're going to have like 100 examples of that TTM signature, and some of them are going to have inscriptions that you can compare. It's just a great resource. We're not sponsored by them or anything, but we all use them, and they're by far the best out there.
But if they want
Oh,
to sponsor,
go
go
ahead.
right ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, feel free to Star Tiger, Marcus. Okay, so we, the jury, find the defendant guilty of definitely fake signatures. Sorry, Bob. I wanted to get that out of the way for so long because I've been saying that for so long, and everybody just treats them like they're authentic. I'm like, dude, like the evidence is overwhelming.
Well, as soon as you see that 2018 in person, that's the giveaway right there.
That one, that one was a nail in the coffin, man. That was it. All right. Well, guys, that wraps up the show. Remember to go to our website, autographersanonymous.com. The link is down below. I actually put all of our links, Chase's YouTube and everything. We're going to promote that here in a second. But I put all the links for our stuff down below in the video. If you're listening on podcast, go to our website, autographersanonymous.com, and you can send us fanatic feedback for our next show, and we'll answer your questions on air. And let's do promotions. Mike.
Well, there you go. You discovered it. Go to autographersanonymous.com and you can find everything for me. But if you want to go to www.autographsforacure.com, that is up and running, and there's stuff in there if you guys want to make a donation to the Orlando Health Cancer Center. So,
Chase?
Yep. Same, like you said, Chasing Ink on YouTube's all I got. So check it out.
Link down below, guys, on the video. Just click those. It takes you right to the stuff. And for me, I announced last show that we changed our store name from the Savage Library to Bargain History. So go to bargainhistory.com. We got some screen-worn pieces of clothing up for sale now from, the Royals. Got some stuff from the Royals TV show. Got some stuff from Mandy Moore, J-Lo. There's some cool stuff up there, so go check that out. Also, fabricfobs.com. That's where you can buy pieces of celebrity clothing and keychains, and that's it. And I want you guys to take care, all of you autograph addicts.